Okay, what if I told you that darkness isn't actually real? That it's not some big bad force we have to fight, but it's really just a void, a space that's waiting to be filled? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into that pretty radical idea and uncover how light is directly tied to our sense of purpose and clarity. Let's get right into it. So let's start with that big, provocative question. What if our entire understanding of this epic struggle between light and dark is just wrong? What if darkness has absolutely no power, no substance, no reality of its own? I mean, think about it like this. You walk into a pitch black room. That darkness, it can feel so absolute, right? Almost heavy. But the second you flip a switch, boom, it's just gone. It doesn't put up a fight. It doesn't retreat into a corner. It just stops existing. And that simple little act, it reveals a huge truth. Darkness is nothing more than the absence of light. And this simple zero right here, it represents a really powerful idea. Light has no opposite. None. It's an eternal, undivided force. So what we call darkness is just a space that light hasn't touched yet. So this brings us to our first major takeaway. Darkness is an illusion. And when we stop thinking of it as an enemy we have to battle and start seeing it as simply a lack of light, it completely changes how we approach all the tough, confusing parts of our lives.
So, what is this light we're talking about cultivating then? As we're about to see, it's something way, way more profound than just turning on a lamp.
If you look at Genesis, right before light was created, the world is described as formless, void, and dark. Now, the source material we're looking at sees this as a metaphor. Formless stands for confusion, void means being without purpose, and darkness is that sense of obscurity you get when you have no clarity. And this is where it gets really interesting. The Hebrew word for light here is or, and it means so much more than just photons. Or is the very act of bringing clarity to chaos, of giving order to confusion. So that divine command, let there be light, wasn't just let's be able to see stuff, it was let there be meaning. And that brings us to a really powerful conclusion. Living in your purpose, that is how you bring or, that divine light, into your own life. It's how you literally create your own light. Okay, so if this divine light is more than what our physical eyes can see, then how in the world are we supposed to perceive it? Well, the answer lies in developing our spiritual vision. Our source breaks it down into 3 different ways of seeing. First, you've got your physical eyes, obviously, for seeing the material world. Then there are our soulish eyes, which help us weigh situations and use discernment. But the real game changer is our spiritual eyes, because that's what allows us to tap into deeper truths and, even higher dimensions of understanding. And this quote right here, it speaks to the incredible power of having a unified vision, a single eye. That means an eye that's totally free from doubt and confusion. When your focus is that clear, your entire being just gets filled with light. Now, to get that single vision, we have to understand the huge difference between truth and knowledge. See, knowledge is what you know. It can be seasonal, temporary, it can even be flawed. But truth, with a capital T, that's who you are. It's eternal. And light comes from that core truth inside you, not just from piling up a bunch of facts. All right, so understanding this divine light is one thing, but how do we actually bring it into our day-to-day lives? Let's get practical and explore the steps to really living in our purpose. The source provides a kind of roadmap. It all starts with self-exploration, really digging in and understanding the gifts you were born with. Then it's about being honest and looking at your own dark areas, the places where you feel confused or ignorant. That whole process is what lets you build a real vision for your life and find that unique purpose you're meant for. You can think of it like this. A plant can have the best soil and all the water in the world, but without light, it just can't grow. It's the same with our faith. Faith without the light of clarity and purpose can't really flourish and do its work. You know who's a great real-world example of this? Entrepreneurs. Where most people just see a problem, a big mess, they see light, they see an opportunity, a solution. They're using those deeper modes of vision to see the potential hidden inside a challenge. And this ability, this skill of seeing and creating light, it leads to the ultimate transformation. You move from being someone who is seeking light to someone who is a source of it. And this isn't just some nice, comforting thought. It's a huge responsibility. When you live in your purpose, You become a beacon for others. Your very existence starts to light up the path for people around you, whether you're trying to or not. This piece of ancient wisdom really nails the core idea. Our inner world literally creates our outer reality. The thoughts we choose to grow in our hearts, those are the blueprints for the person we are becoming. The ultimate goal then is to be completely full of light, no room left for any shadows of doubt or confusion. This is that state of the single eye, of just unshakable clarity and purpose. So, how do we get to that state of total illumination? Well, our source points to one incredibly powerful practice: forgiveness. It's the one act that most effectively transforms the darkness of resentment and pain into pure light, and it heals both the person forgiving and the one being forgiven. And all this brings us to one final, very personal reflection. Every single word we speak, every action we take, it carries an energy. It's either adding to the light of clarity and purpose in the world, or it's contributing to the darkness of confusion. So the question for all of us is simple: what are you sending out into the world today?